in 20 minutes so far. I've met an agent, property management company, contractor.
I guarantee you the answer is in this room.
Growing this place of doing legal services for the last few years.
I'm investing in Windsor because I believe in this city.
Your network is your net worth. Properties are cheap, the numbers make sense, and there's a lot of growth potential here.
Get into your first deal, it only costs you 5% down to get in. Remember there, that's great.
Okay, here we go. All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Win City Investors Club Tuesday Talk Series, the no holds barred, no bullshit show where we bring on expert investors and pick their brains on what made them so successful so we can replicate it and do the same for our own success. I'm your boy, Real Estate Investor Sav, the host of the show, and today I want to introduce my two realtors, the most real estate investor-friendly realtors in the whole of Windsor, Ontario. Jeremy Soma from eXp Realty and, Aditya from eXp Realty. I got it confused, guys.
Did we combine?
McGraw from Century 21. What is it? Diamond Platinum?
Remax.
Oh man, I'm like
Diamond.
all over the place. It's 2021, guys. Excuse me. I'm so into it that I've completely lost it. Okay, I'll let you guys introduce yourself. Welcome, guys.
Probably that's the excitement for New Year.
Man, I'm super excited for 2021. How you guys been? How's your holidays, if there were any? And how's the year started off for you guys?
Man, first of all, thank you, Sav. Good to be back on the Win City Club. So, yeah, 2020 was a fantastic year. Definitely ended up with some COVID there.
Oh, shoot.
Did you?
Recovered.
All right.
Yeah.
And
So
you
it's
clearly
been already
survived,
a month.
so that's a good thing.
Yeah, totally.
I'm sure we're going to see a YouTube video on that one, Aditya.
It was already updated by like.
Oh, really? Okay, I gotta send me that link. I gotta do that. All right, cool, man.
It's been already like a month.
And okay, so what's the summary? The 20
summary, it's not that scary. The COVID is not that scary. It's just that you gotta build a solid immunity. 3 days, a little bit worst, but after that, pretty normal. And back to business, back to normal.
Perfect. Good to have you back, man, and healthy. That's what's important.
Thank you. Definitely 2020 was a super interesting one. I know, sad in terms of COVID situation, but great in terms of real estate, because, especially if you're an investor, been investing in Windsor, you have seen pretty good equities. And I bought some building, I bought a duplex, couple properties, and sold over 100 properties. So it's a fruitful year. So
Awesome. Maybe it was look at it as a blessing in disguise. Maybe it was a forced rest.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
Cool.
That's how I took it.
All the best to your 2021, man. Hopefully you will explode those numbers and overachieve. What you're planning to do. I hope you got your objectives written down, and we're already January, man. Most people have already forgotten about their resolutions or the objectives. But I keep telling you, you got to write it down. If you don't write it down, it's never going to work, right? So I hope you.
I have a mini board right there in front of me. That mini has my top 4 things that I want to do.
Awesome.
Every day.
Perfect. Jeremy, how about you, man? What's going on? Or are you frozen? I think Jeremy's frozen there. Okay. Well, while Jeremy's thawing out, I'll go a little bit as well. So, Aditya, we're talking about objectives. One of my objectives for 2021 is really to give back to the community, right? Because as an investor, I've taken so much from the investing community, whether it be in Windsor or Oakville, where I was before, the GTA, the Golden Horseshoe area, with all the free podcasts and the meetings that people had and all these events that were put out. I took so much, and one of my goals this year is to really give back. And I committed to myself that these Tuesday Talk series, which was supposed to be a bi-weekly event, I got to be more consistent. You know, it's a free information exercise, if you will. You know, we want to bring expert investors here. We want to pick their brains. So people who are coming onto the show, if you've been here before or if it's your first time right now, you can get this information and it's totally for free, right? And we want to encourage that discussion. So if you are the first time on this show, you know, use that chat group. I have it over here, my phone. I got my phone, so I'm following the chats and the questions, guys. You know, use the chat group. We have quite a few people online right now. And ask questions, what we're talking about, and especially about Windsor. Ask questions because, you know, if you can't get an answer over here, I'm not sure where else you're going to get an answer from. So if Aditya or Jeremy or myself don't answer right now live your questions, I'm sure there's going to be somebody in this group who has the experience of the situation that you're going through right now, and you know, you can get the answer live. So initiate that discussion. All right, get those questions coming in, and we'll try and get the answers to you. Jeremy, you're thawed out now. So how's it going? What's going on, man?
It's still like lagging there for a second for me there. But anyways, yeah, good. 2020 was a great year. I came in with super high expectations, and you know, you make mistakes and you learn. And obviously, I had a big change this year. I basically went my own, well, with a teammate there, and then we basically teamed up. So that was probably the highlight of my year, was transitioning from basically a team member to a team lead, I guess you would say, and
Nice.
going on your own or just going and starting completely fresh. It was definitely, you have to learn to put a lot of things into play there, and that would be one of the biggest things. So my goal this year is just basically try to automate as much stuff as I possibly can. So between my investing, my real estate, you know, my other ventures, right? I want to try to automate as much stuff as I possibly can so I can provide the most and be able to not burn out as much. That was the one thing, if I could take away from anything, is the mental health. Going into November and December, I was absolutely mentally drained, and it wasn't the greatest, right? So basically that would be the one thing I would have to say, is putting the things into place. Make sure you have all your ducks in a row, and there's a lot of systems out there, and basically sometimes, especially as an investor, everyone's been told to kind of keep your wallet closed. Sometimes the best thing to do is to open your wallet up a little bit more and invest not only yourself, but in everything around you.
I love it. I love it. That's super advice, you know, and I'm so happy to talk to you guys because, you know, since I've been in Windsor, which is now coming close to 3 years, and we've introduced ourselves to each other. I love to see you guys grow, man, because every time we talk, you know, I see the growth in your personal lives and your personal and your business as well, which is amazing for me because, you know, I'm going through the same thing myself. So I can see that other investors are experiencing those same kind of challenges. And if we all work together and we talk about it and we come to communities like this is going to help all of us grow, right? And that's the whole point of this kind of discussion. Cool. All right. Speaking of growth, let's talk about Windsor, the hottest market in the whole of Ontario, in our opinion, of course. You know, the growth has been crazy for those of you who have invested before. And I can tell you, you know, just talking to other people and going through the other forums online, Windsor is on the map, man. And I'm going to blame 3 of us over here because we're the ones who are putting it on the goddamn map, right? When I came here 2 years ago, I'm going to say that Windsor still had a pretty shitty name, right? There, you know, a lot of investors were not really wanting to come out here. And I am so happy and so glad that I did and took that risk, because since then it's gone off the roof. And now we have Toronto investors. Everybody is calling. I mean, my phone goes off the hook. I'm not even a realtor, but my phone goes off the hook, you know, 10, 15 times a day. What's happening in Windsor? Who do I talk to? You got a property for me? You know, I want a building. I mean, there's so much going on, right? So let's get into it. Let's talk about the numbers. You know, we just finished 2020, of course. Oh, I shouldn't do that. I should actually share my screen. We got a couple of slides for our audience over here. And let's start with the market. Can you guys see that screen?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Let me just, I'm gonna blow it up so it's full screen here. All right, cool. Yeah, so this is Windsor market as a whole. Aditya, do you want to talk us through Windsor and why first?
Let me hook this thing here. Okay, hold on. Okay, perfect. Now I can clearly see the screen. So, what's up, everyone? Once again, welcome to Win City Club. Of course, Savio, like you mentioned, trust me, many investors from all over the country, not just Toronto, Vancouver. There are nowadays, I see so many investors looking at. But one big thing that stopped many investors is fear of not knowing anyone, fear of not having enough support locally. That's where the Win City Club come into picture, because now we are literally like a group of friends always chatting about, hey, what contractor you use, or hey, what property management you use, all those things. That's where the club provides literally ton of value for hundreds of people. So welcome, everyone. So let's get to the numbers. I know many of you have been excitedly waiting for this, to hear this, what's going on in Windsor. So like I'm still bullish about Windsor. I still feel Windsor has few more years to ride this wave. If you look at the numbers year to date, compared to 2019, 2020, we still have 7% less listings, which means the inventory is still low, and the sales are 2% more than last year. So which means still the sales are still higher. That means more buyers, low inventory, that's still carrying. And look at this appreciation, 22.
Those Toronto investors, man, is those Toronto investors. That's what's happening,
Yeah, Toronto. Nowadays, I've been seeing not just the Toronto, from Halifax, Alberta. I've been hearing investors from different parts of the cities looking at Windsor, because now, the cities like Windsor, who has a bigger city amenities with affordable housing prices, we are the one who is very attractive for them. So even if you look at the average price in December 2020, average sale price is 410, which is still on the low side. So the appreciation, if you would have purchased the property with 20% down last year, now literally you made over 100% return on your money.
Those numbers are crazy. Those numbers are crazy. And every time we have these meetings, every month, I say the same thing. Those numbers are crazy, right? But this is the fact of the matter. I mean, for those of you who went in a couple of years ago, even a couple of years ago, I'm not even talking about 10 years ago, a couple of years ago, you made a lot of money. I can tell you from my personal experience, I'm in a mastermind group with, I want to say, old school Windsorites, right? Guys who have been here a long time. And they started investing in Windsor 10 years ago when nobody was looking at Windsor, in honestly some really shitty, dicey, sketchy neighborhoods. And I got 6 people in my group. I can tell you 4 of them are retired. They are retired, and they're younger than me. They're younger than me. They're not even living in Windsor anymore, some of them, right? They're just going off on vacations for 6 months, and they're letting their properties pay all that vacation time off, driving really nice cars. And now they become money lenders, because that's how much money they came into once they refied these properties, because they paid off the properties. It's cash flowing. They refied. They're millionaires, and they invested 10 years ago. If you invested 2 or 3 years ago, that can happen to you. It's still happening, right? $400,000 average sales price. Look in the whole of the GTA or Ontario. That's on the still really on the low end. So I absolutely agree with you saying, Aditya.
What people fail to realize about Windsor, and this is what some people I find have basically the stigmatization, is that we are just kind of by ourselves. But what people fail to realize is we have Detroit, and Detroit's not the Detroit of 2004, 2005, or even the 90s and 80s, right? Detroit is one of the most hip and trendiest places in North America. It is our version, basically, of Toronto. We have football games. We have with the NFL. We have the MLB. We have the NBA, right? They're getting a soccer team. They have Google
PGA,
already in Detroit.
PGA Tour is there as well.
Yeah, they have Amazon, $400 million new distribution center going in Detroit. They have Google already, right? They have all these big companies that places like Toronto or other cities are living. And I've been talking to a lot of investors in Detroit, and Sav, you invest heavily in Detroit as well. And people are constantly moving from the California area and from the New York area to Detroit. And we're not just going up because Windsor's Windsor. We're going up because we're being surrounded now by a city that's also improving, that is much larger than us, and that has many major amenities similar to Toronto.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that, Aditya, because this Detroit and the proximity of Detroit to Windsor is really understated, right? A lot of people ask me, I know, why Windsor? And when I bring this point up, yeah, we're close to Detroit, people are like, okay, and so what? Detroit's a dump. They're bankrupt, right? Nah, you're still living on old media news, right? Get yourself updated, because as Jeremy said, you got big sports teams over here. And here's the thing. It's not only for entertainment people go across the border. There's a lot of people living in Windsor who actually work in Detroit. So they're essential workers, in the hospitals, nurses, doctors that are moving back and forth. There's a lot of traffic. I'm not even talking about all the consumer goods and the fruits and vegetables and groceries that come across back and forth, but people living in both cities. So we are very much linked to Detroit in that sense, okay? And it's a massive, massive selling point for Windsor, because literally I can get from my house to my project in Detroit in about 20 minutes, right? That's closer to get from Toronto, from one side of Toronto to the other side of Toronto driving. Closer, right? Forget about something outside the city. Toronto to Etobicoke is today, 30 minutes in traffic. So it is a huge, huge selling point. Okay, what else can we say about Windsor, Aditya?
So, one common question that I was heard, how long this is going to be riding this wave? That's one thing that I want to touch on. Here's the thing, like the demand and the supply, until there is a demand for a product, the prices will go up. That means from the recent CRA plan of bringing in more people to Canada, which means there is opportunity for at least out of 100 people that Canada bringing in, there will be at least a 1% coming to Windsor. So that means there is still.
Where'd you get this figure 1%? I think it's going to be much more than 1%, right?
So based on, I have another, I didn't put it in the slides, but there is I'm working on a PDF to create like a Windsor guide. My assistant did a ton of research, and she found very conservatively, there is like over 1%, but very, very conservatively, at least 1% of the whole immigration that is coming to Canada is moving to Windsor right now, because the Windsor population, if you look at just Google, don't even do too much research. Windsor population in 2017 and Windsor population 2020, there is like over 70,000 increase.
Yeah,
it's like insane.
Yeah, I've been checked recently. What is it, like 3.5% or something population growth in Windsor, right? I mean, what Aditya is referring to is our Canadian immigration policy, where the Canadian government is really hell-bent and stressing the fact that we're going to be, I think it was 1.2 million.
1.2 million.
Yeah.
Which,
in four or 5 years.
That's huge.
So it's huge, right? And out of which 60% is coming to Ontario. There's no doubt about it, right?
Yeah.
40% is going to go to places like, I don't know, BC or the prairies or,
But even if we get 2% of that, that's almost equivalent to 10% of our population. That's massive. And our houses, we don't have enough new builds going for that.
Yep, exactly.
And that's what I think what people are, this is what I've been telling a lot of my clientele here. So our average price is what in Windsor around, Aditya, what would you say, about 450? Our average price right now?
410. Let's go for it.
Yeah. So a new build right now, if we wanted to sell a brand new build to our client, your detached house, right? 600,000, 650, $700,000. So a new build is not even the same price as what a medium or an average price is, which means that all these house prices will be going up because, as you were saying, it is the price, like the supply and demand is only going up as basically all the new builds are not catering to anyone that can't afford more, less than the average price, right? So these $600,000 houses, and you'll be surprised on the amount of, for example, one of the guys in my office was in a bidding war on a $900,000 house, which sold for $300,000 over ask. So when people are going, oh, well, what's going on with Windsor? Multiple offers on $1 million houses.
Wow.
So the demand's there, the supply is not there, right? And people are saying, well, I want a house for 200 grand. That's pretty much almost gone now. So if you really want to get in, like, I mean, basically the barrier of entry, your demand, I mean, is like $300,000. So even get your foot in the door. Could you get a house for 250? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you really have to get your search pretty much almost $300,000 to even get in the market now.
Yep.
And if we would have had this conversation, which we did 4 months ago, it would have been 250. That we're already going up $50,000 in less than half a year.
And this is in the midst of a pandemic, guys. Let's not forget about that, right? We're in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, today, our favorite politician came out with the new lockdown rules, right? So everything's getting back to square one, even though we have a vaccine in place and so on and so forth. Don't get me started on that. But, you know, getting back to real estate, we're hitting these record numbers during a pandemic. So what the hell is going to happen after the pandemic? You know, we're going to have a pandemic when it comes to real estate because there's no way to go, right? We are pushing from all angles, from all sides. So if you ain't in the market right now, man, I don't know what more to say, right? Okay.
And as of today, all construction's shut down. Anything that's not built, right? It's my knowledge there. So
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of people missing out. Like, if you can't build a house, which it's now almost 2 years to build a new build. If that gets pushed back even further, there's no supply. You will have to buy resale.
Yeah. But that's restricted to new construction, eh? So renovations
Yes.
in your home can still carry on.
Any permits that were issued that was not issued before 12th, you cannot work.
Yeah, and I was talking with Thompson Asset Management. Shout out to Graham Thompson there. He basically said after today they can't take on any new jobs until something changes there. That's for renovations too.
That's important to keep in mind, right? So for new investors who are going to buy something and who have the burst strategy in mind where they would need to renovate, you know, consider the fact that you might not be able to do something for at least 28 days. Who knows? After that, it is going to open up again, right? So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So that, you know, keep your finances in order that, you know, you'll be able to hold or carry those costs while, you know, we get out of this lockdown period, right? So
that's a great point, Sav. That's one thing I advise anyone who is getting in. This is the times where don't crazily over leverage yourself. You know, just you gotta have extra cash or line of credits or some kind of form of money that available for you, because, you know, right now, because of this crazy lockdown, even the vacancy for renting, people are not moving as often as they used to.
right.
So the units are sitting vacant, but, you know, no matter what happening, still the properties are moving so quickly. So one of the reason that I feel is the demand for small cities, the demand for still the Windsor is in the map as affordable housing prices. So that's attracting home buyers as well. Like recently I started to see a lot more home buyers coming from Toronto because they couldn't find under 600 a big, nice, good size house in Kitchener. They couldn't find in London now they're coming to Windsor. So because now they have like work from home option for next 3 years, 2 years, 4 years. That's one of the major reason as well. So going back to the numbers, just pretty much I think we covered all these points here, why this beautiful city is growing in demand.
Okay.
Savio, move on to the next slide.
Perfect. Before we get into the neighborhoods, and we're going to break down these numbers in per neighborhood to see where investors should be investing and why. And I want to go back to the chat group. We got a big audience following us right now, watching live. Thanks guys for coming online. But listen, if you got any questions about Windsor, now's the time to ask. So, you know, just don't sit back on the sidelines and watch. Ask your questions so we can get them answered right now. Okay, let's dive into the neighborhood. Aditya, I think you're going first. What's our first neighborhood here?
So if you just slide next, you should have the West Windsor. Yep.
Okay, so what are we looking at?
So, yeah. So this is one of my most favorite neighborhood, and which is, um, for multiple reasons. So if you see the map here where the West Windsor is, just at the end, the new bridge construction already started a year ago. So the construction is going on, and there is another bridge that is already existing, and the university just off of that bridge where the West number 2 is. So this is more like a blue collars, people who are working for bridge, and actually also there is a access to EC row highway. So a lot of blue collar people who are working, they live here in this area, and also like access to US, that's like literally off a bridge. So it's kind of a combination of multiple things, and still underrated in my opinion, this location. If you look at the average sale price, so listing price, let's ignore that, average sale price. So because of the COVID, this is one area that got impacted where the appreciation was not as much as, actually there is no appreciation in last 1 year, because of the majority of the tenants in this area was like, student rentals. And because of the COVID, the student rentals kind of paused. So if you see the average prices in January, this is 2020. So 317, and in December it drops to 287. So and if you look at the numbers in the middle, pretty much like they're fluctuating. February 20, that's when the pandemic, I think pretty much we started in March, mid-March.
Yeah.
So 254 dropped, 260, 254 again dropped. It's kind of pretty much stabilized. Whereas if you compare with other neighborhoods, this 2020, especially in residential areas, crazy appreciation. The overall appreciation that you saw, you will see in other neighborhoods. But this is the pretty much like the university area kind of. The appreciation was not that crazy.
What I'm hearing, Aditya, is that there's opportunity. So if there's no appreciation,
exactly,
still get into a market, for quite a low price, under $300,000 for a for a what? Are we talking about single family homes? Are we talking about student rentals? Can you let our audience know about that?
I mean, again, depends on, right? There are single families that rent. A lot of immigrants live in this area. There are like pockets like in just in the center of this West Windsor, right here. Like there's a street called Bloomfield, Chippewa, South King and Queen, couple of streets in this pocket where a lot of immigrants, families with kids, they live here. So these are the pockets where you can either get a single family that has 3-bedroom, 2-bath under 300, still a pretty good one. Not even like just, if you're going on the high, close to 300, you'll get a very clean 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 2-bath, like for a family. Or you can get like 5-bedroom, 2-bath, those kind of houses.
What would those rent for, the single family?
So right now, I have a single family that is rented for 1,500, 3-bedroom, 1-bath. That's like okay condition. And it's been like for last 2 years. So right now I would say 1,500 to 1,800, very conservatively 1,500, on the high side 1,800.
Okay, so you're
my gem of a spot. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So you're basically going to be cash flowing, a couple of $100. You're not cash flowing tons of money. This is really, long-term play. So you're buying something, if it's a single family, you're buying something that you're keeping, and you're going to get that appreciation over time, right? Once the rest of Windsor is kind of maxed out, people are going to start more coming to this side. We got the new bridge coming up. You could possibly get more if you make it a shorter term rental to the bridge employees, for example, if it's in the nicer part of Sandwich Town, right? You also mentioned that it's close to the university, so I'm assuming there's a lot of student rentals there. Right?
Student rentals, yeah. So the first, if you see where this white rectangle shape, so this pocket is pretty much like a
they can't see your screen. I'm projecting from my screen.
So okay, sorry, my bad. So where you see that rectangle shape, that's the one. That whole bigger one, not just a small one. Yeah. So just further down. Yeah. Down towards the riverside. Riverside. Close down. Yeah. where the number one, yeah, no, further down towards the river point where the red dot is.
Oh, you mean
Yeah, so that rectangle, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that rectangle, you see that that Sandwich Street and Mill Street, that's the streets. In between that towards the bridge, that's whole streets. All those streets are mostly students.
I
If
want
you're
to talk.
looking
I
at a
want to talk a
student
little bit
rental,
about students, Aditya and Jeremy, because a
Yeah.
lot of investors, a lot of questions I get is, okay, students are gone, COVID has come, schools are empty, they're doing online classes, yada yada yada. Is it the right time to get into student rentals? What's your?
It is.
that's my favorite
It
topic.
is.
Okay,
So-
overwhelmingly yes.
Okay, so strong answer, yes. But one caution is have some savings, at least be in a position that you can hold the property for next 6 months to 1 year. If you do that, like you need probably, if you're buying a 300,000 property, you need $1,000 a month. To hold for 1 year, you need like $12,000. If you have $12,000, like right now, you're getting over 50,000 discount, over 50,000 for a 5-6 bedroom house. That can easily rent for over 500 per bedroom, which can make you over $1,000 cash flow once the market is back to normal.
Okay.
So there is a good opportunity, especially if you're looking into student rental. If you want to get into student rental, this is the time, I feel, because whereas the rest of the market is the competition, bidding wars. But right now in the student rental, there is no competition, there is no bidding war until unless the property was like real listed low and presents really well. Until unless that case, no bidding war. So it's a good time
a complete 180-degree turnaround, eh? Because I remember having this discussion when we first started this series on Windsor Market Updates almost a year ago. You couldn't find a student rental available.
Yeah.
There was nothing on the market. People, as soon as it came up, there was bidding wars. It was going nuts when it came to student rentals. Now, there's a 50,000, as you said, discount, and some people are scared to buy these, right? Which I don't understand why. Jeremy, do you have anything to add on that?
So
actually, I'm going to give one quotation here that reminds always, like some favorite investor says that, only when the wave goes off, you will see the people who are swimming naked.
Warren Buffett. Love it. So basically, the way I see student rental is pre-COVID. That was my bread and butter of a market. That was one of my biggest focus. I would get a call, probably a few calls a day about student rentals. Basically, I think we got hit with a bunch of things all at once. Obviously, COVID was a big thing. Another big thing we had was the mortgage changes. I don't think we've talked about that. Was basically with the normal property, you need 20% down. I've seen upwards of 40% now for some student rentals. That's not always the case. Always talk with your mortgage advisor about that. But there has been some mortgage changes for some of these student rentals / boarding houses. But overall, as everyone's mentioned, that was a huge cash flow play for a lot of properties. I think with COVID, it's opened a lot of eyes to people that have invested in the student rental market, and they have focused on basically getting even closer to even better streets. For example, trying to get as close as possible. One of my close friends who's a big student rental, and he's a realtor himself, basically he's purely trying to invest as close as possible on California. And basically that's kind of my idea is I would say if you're going to be on the West End, really try to focus in and around that Indian Avenue area. Kind of try to stay as close as possible within those first couple 2 to 3 streets is your prime area. Anything above and beyond that, you're obviously, it could be risky, but obviously once things open back up to normal, and whenever that is, we will be having possibly 5,000-6,000 students coming into, and they're just not going to have any places to stay. So, I mean, it's a great opportunity. As I mentioned, it was one of my hottest things to sell pre-COVID. And I think once those people that only feel comfortable investing when everyone else is investing, kind of like that Bitcoin mentality, you will see the student rental market probably pick up, and it will probably be one of the more popular markets because everything else has, once again, gone up 20% so far this year, where the student rental market is probably at the COVID levels now. It did drop tremendously. It's now maybe at where it was at. So it's a great time to invest. and you're basically buying January 2020 prices.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, we talk about it on the show all the time, guys. You know, for those of you who are still learning about Windsor, Windsor as a city is, I want to say highly dependent, but we are dependent on students. We have two big schools over here, you know, the University of Windsor and St. Clair College. And all in all, I think we are talking about, you know, in excess of 15,000 combined, 15,000 international students coming to Windsor. These guys provide so much to the economy that the city of Windsor wants them back. Okay, it's not in the interest of city of Windsor to say, let's move completely to online courses and not get students back. These, you know, the city wants these students back because they're renting, obviously, they're paying taxes because a lot of them work. You know, you go to Walmart, you find a lot of Indian kids working in Walmart who are students, right? So they pay their taxes, you know, that's providing the government coffers with some money. They go and spend their money in restaurants, clubs, whatever, right? Entertainment, you know, so it's adding to the economy. It's the best interest of Windsor to bring these students back as soon as possible. We talked about that. I want to add one more thing. I'm looking at an article that I just found the other day from the immigration minister, and he's talking about basically Canada as a country now is giving students who have graduated from Canadian university, international students, they're giving them an 18-month open work permit, okay? So they're not PRs, permanent residents yet, but they're extending their work permit to 18 months to allow these guys to find a job. Because, excuse me, I don't know what you guys say, but 100% of students who come to Canada to go to school, their intention is to become Canadian, right? And stay in the country. It's not the intention to go back to where they came from. That's not what the whole thing is about coming here, right? But a lot of them can find jobs in the period after they graduate, which I don't know how much it is. If you guys know, 6 months, do they get 6 months or a year or something to find a job after they graduate? Now, after that period, now it's going, the immigration minister has opened this up for a further year and a half. Okay, so these guys are going to stay. They probably are going to stay in that same house that they went to school in because they can't afford or can't find another place to stay in the meantime before they get a job. Okay, so student rentals, guys, what I see in this area of West Windsor, we got two, you know, to summarize, we got two types of housing. We got the single family home where you can possibly, it's a long-term game. You know, you're not going to cash flow great tons of money, but you're getting into the market at under $300,000, right? Or if you want to go for a student rental and increase your cash flow, yes, it's a little long-term game now as well because of what's happening with COVID and so on and so forth, but there's a huge opportunity to get into student rentals in the west side of Windsor. Now's the time. Okay, cool. Let's move on.
And before we move on to the
Sure.
to the next slide, just one quick note here. Many people forget that in West Windsor, there is another small area that is very good family neighborhood. This Malden,
Yeah.
near to the park, just that couple of pockets there, the green, so just off of E0 on the between Huron Church and that pocket. Yep. So that pocket is a pretty decent family neighborhood where you can still find properties probably under 350 and nice bungalow style, you know, single family homes that can make $100, $200, $300 cash flow and still rent out for very good working class families.
All right, cool. Downtown core.
Okay, so this has mixed things here. Of course, one, the university on the left side, the whole half part of the left side, you know, if you want to like really specific where the Crawford is, Crawford,
Right where the bridge is.
and between the bridge and Crawford, So bridge and then Crawford is like where you see that center, the solid line, that's the one. So between that is mostly student rental. And then just off of Crawford, it's kind of, that's where it gets like, you know, you got to be a little bit careful about what properties you're choosing because there are some.
It's downtown.
Downtown, there are some rundown, you know, houses, some kind of, you got to be careful.
There's some riffraff, That's the easiest
exactly.
way to say it.
Yeah. So if you clean them up, you can find a decent tenants, you know, either immigrant families. That's one of my favorite spot. and also like people who are working in downtown, people who are working in US, they love to stay in this neighborhood because it's very easy for commute. Okay, so going into the numbers, pretty much the price haven't really changed in this area as well, because still the chunk of the properties are student rentals. So if you see the average sale price, 294, 134, and if you see the average sale price in December, 297, pretty much it stayed consistent in 2020. It dropped a little bit in February, April, when it was like totally shut down. And then May slowly started to pick up, but pretty much stayed consistent compared to the beginning of the year and the ending of the year. But this is the areas where you can still make good cash flow properties. There are a lot of duplexes in this area, a lot of properties you can still find something under 250. This is the area where you can still find. So if you're like an investor who are just starting out, doesn't have a ton of money, then this is the area you can really find a nice and solid property, do some cosmetic lift, get a good tenant, and sit on it. Probably refinance it once after 6 months or a year. So
yeah, I think one of your first properties was here, right? That I've been
pretty much on the border, like just pretty much on the border of that. I actually live in the area.
Okay,
I'm in this corner here.
You're way down here.
Yeah, right there. But I still have a property on that.
So I'm actually right at the top as well.
Yeah, you're downtown here somewhere now, right?
Right there.
So
yeah, right there. Yeah.
I'll talk about specific property that I bought in this street,
yes.
in this
Give
area.
us some numbers.
So just near Crawford and Wyandotte on Wellington. So I have a duplex. I purchased it in 2017 September for 167,000, a duplex, 3-bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
So that duplex now at least will appraise for 350. And rented for each unit 3-bedroom. I did a furnished rentals. So one before COVID, it was rented for 1,750 for 3 students who are like, going to school, because the Wyandotte Street, the bus goes directly to university.
Mm-hmm.
And upper unit rented for 1,450. The upper unit still rented for 1,450. Lower, now I dropped it because, the code situation, the previous tenants went out. Now I rented for 1,200.
So you're telling me that you getting rents for, so let's say 3,000, right? Total rents is about 3,000.
Yep.
Or conservatively,
Yep.
you bought for
Yep.
167. You blew the 1% rule out of the freaking window. That was a year and a half ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah. So if you take it now, the current value would be 350,000. So you're still close to 1%.
Wow. Have you refined recently, or have you tried?
Not yet. I'm still waiting.
You're just building up that equity.
Yeah. I'm actually paying down the mortgage now. I'm at like 100,000 because I was thinking to. This is another area where if you have a bigger lots, maybe the tiny homes, those the new concept, adding an additional unit, but duplexes doesn't qualify for that. I was like thinking to rebuild a 4-plex, something like that, but I haven't. That's why I haven't refinanced. But there is a ton of equity in there.
I mean, personally for me, guys, I think downtown area, I hated it, right? When I first came, I hated it. I thought it was a dump, whatever. But when I look, if I'm putting my mind's eye out there and looking at 5 years from now, downtown probably has more potential for me than even Sandwich, what we talked about, or West Windsor. Okay, and the only reason for that is because there's so much development going on downtown, so much development, which I never thought that would happen. Or, for me, it hit me like a ton of bricks overnight. We talked about
and city is giving so much grants to do some renovations, or to do like this tiny homes. Like agent in my team, Clark, he is the first one who is building tiny home. He got like almost 15,000-20,000 in tax rebates. Yeah, crazy.
Amazing. And it's a whole. I don't know, Jeremy. Are we talking about downtown in your area as well, or is it just this one over here?
All right. Well, I got 2 properties downtown. I got my condo downtown, which I picked up. That boomed up. I mean, I was in a building that 5 years ago, you could have picked up a unit for probably $50,000. I bought my unit for $165,000. I dropped $40K into it, and it's probably worth between $275,000 to $300,000 now. I picked up a duplex on the MLS back in August there, right? Actually, it was more like July. I think we bought it in August there. I bought it for $210,000, sunk $30,000 into it. And basically that one right there, if I were to refi it today, could be pushing just north of $315,000. So in less than 5 months, I've made probably $250,000 in equity off of 2 houses just in the downtown core.
Wow, that's bank, man. That's bank.
And that's just
actually,
and that's
go
not
ahead,
even
go ahead.
doing anything silly. That's just basically buying market prices. The condo price, I felt I overpaid for my condo. I bought the view and the market just jumped up, and you never know. You can never time a market. You buy when something makes sense, and you just buy it. And that's the way I've kind of told my clientele. I didn't think I was going to make I had no plans on making $250,000. All my properties are meant to cash flow. They make sense.
You won the
to rent out.
lottery. You didn't have any plans of making $250,000, but you got it. But that goes to show it's the power of pulling the trigger, right? Because you know, if you thought you overpaid at that point, you still pulled the trigger, and now you're $250,000 richer. A lot of people are stuck; they're frozen in their mind. You know, I'm overpaying. The price is high. It's the tip of the market right now. It's the the highest possible price, and then they don't, right? And now they have. If hindsight was, if we had 20/20 hindsight, we would have bought so many more properties before. Right?
Oh, I would have been $1 billion in debt and owned half a city block.
Yeah,
more, right?
Probably another set of group will talk about the same story. Oh, I wish I could have bought 5 years ago.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
I want to hear about this 880 OLED. I know you have a great story about this. I was actually just reading the other day.
Did you see this, guys? I mean, you saw this headlines, right? So Toronto
81 units.
80 units. So Toronto investor bought this for a very nice price. He didn't mention how much he paid for it. It's been vacant for a long time. It's a commercial building, downtown core. This is like literally, I don't know. Let me see if I can do this. Hold on. Can I go this way? I just want to show you. Oh no, I can't do that. But basically, if you go down the street, this is Ouellette. For those of you who don't know Windsor, here. This is the downtown Windsor, and if you see these buildings, these are Detroit, okay, at the other side of the river there. That's how close we are, downtown. Beautiful location. Toronto investor bought it for a very nice price. He's putting $3 million into this to convert this commercial unit building into an 80-unit residential complex, okay? Here's the thing. He's saying it's going to take 16 to 18 months to do this, and every month is $100,000 in carrying costs. He's paying $100,000 in carrying costs, while he goes through the rezoning process and all of that stuff to get this into a residential unit. Forget about the numbers. What I'm thinking to myself is, if he's putting money into this and he's paying $100,000 a month, right? There must be a good goddamn reason why he's investing in Windsor downtown. Okay, so going back to our slide here about the area that we're talking about, downtown has this huge potential because money is coming in. There's a lot of money coming into downtown Windsor and regentrifying.
Can you bring up on the Google Maps there? Can you bring up 267 Plisher Street really quickly?
Okay, hold on. I got to do that again. Let's go back here.
267 Plisher.
Spell that?
P-E-L-I-C-C. Sorry, I-S-S-I-E-R.
Oh, Plisher.
Right there. 267 Plisher, right there. Yeah. So this building right here is actually another building that's actually in the works right now. It's owned by a prominent Windsor investor slash businessman. It's very easy to get the information on this building there if you want to Google that. But this building is being turned from a office building into multi-residential. I believe it was bought for somewhere around $3 million. And then this one right here is basically being turned into residential units. The main floor, I believe, are the first 2 floors are supposed to stay commercial, something along those lines. Don't have the information in front of my face right now, but yeah, this building right here is a good example of something that's already in the works, and we're talking millions of dollars being spent to make this happen.
So I mean,
and there's grants.
the common consensus from investors who are buying up buildings like this in Windsor is that basically it's useless to have commercial downtown, right? Commercial units this size. There's
a commercial realtor was telling me right now, that one of my mentors was telling me, I think he told me about this last year or the year before, there's 200,000 square feet right now vacant in Windsor for commercial, for office space, 200,000 plus. And a lot of that is being turned over into residential units.
Yeah, and the reason for that is because we have a crisis. We have a housing shortage when it comes to residential. We talked about all these people who are coming in. We talked about there's no stock in the inventory. So investors with deep pockets are thinking to themselves, listen, if we convert these into residential units, it's money in the bank all day, every day. I don't care if I'm spending $100,000 to hold this while I'm doing that conversion process, but in the future, it's going to pay back. So always follow the money, right? If big investors are coming into certain neighborhoods, certain areas, pumping a lot of money, you think these guys haven't done their research? They've done in-depth research of what's happening, much in advance of what we can see as residential buyers, and they're pumping money into it. I would stay close to that area. And that's where we're talking about.
And you don't have to just spend on that crazy kind of projects. I actually just bought a 17-unit building in the same area. I just remember it's on the same center point, literally center of this downtown.
You got so many properties. You forgot which ones you got. I just remembered. By the way, I bought a 17-unit building. God damn,
I can't even keep up. I'm sitting there talking about my duplex. This season off 17 units. That's amazing.
It's a perfect center point. You know where that Wyandotte and Campbell.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
that'll be nice.
Got it for less than 80,000 per unit. And
what would be the breakdown? What's the breakdown on that?
What's that?
Like unit wise, what's the breakdown? Bachelor, one bedroom,
76,000. 12 of them are one bedroom, 5 of them are bachelor.
But yeah, I mean, a one bedroom in today's market goes for between $100,000 to $130,000 a unit.
Yeah, I got it on the market for 76,000 per unit, 1.3 million.
And there you go, guys. I mean, because that area again is let's call it like a spade. It's a shitty area of Windsor. People are scared to go there, right? But if you can have the foresight, what these big investors are doing, you can buy that 17-unit building. You can buy a single family home there, right? But you got to have that long-term play, long-term game, right? Investing in real estate is not a quick, rich getting scheme. Okay, you got to have time in the market to make these millions and to retire like my mastermind group guys do. Okay, we got to move on, guys.
Sometimes you got to look at very simple things, simple numbers, right? Like, so what can I rent it for? Who are my target tenants? Do I have tenants in this area?
Yeah. Hey, Aditya, I'm going to come back to South Windsor later because we got to switch over to Jeremy, just going geographically all over Windsor.
Area 3, so it's the downtown and South Central, or Central here.
I hope so. I don't know why it's not switching. Hold on a second. I got to get to your slides. Excuse us, guys. In the meantime, guys, if you're watching live online, if you have any questions in the neighborhoods that we're talking about, put them down there so we can get to your questions. Why is this not working? Come on. Here. Jeremy slides. Okay, here we are. Okay, here we go, Jeremy. Talk to us.
Lovely here. It's Area 7. Do you want to start with Area 3 first, or?
Oh, sure. Was it this?
Yes, I updated the picture. I don't know why it's still that way. No worries. Okay, so anyways, Area 3, South Central Windsor and downtown. I apologize for the picture there. I have my assistant doing that. Okay, great area. Probably one of the hottest spots of Windsor for an investor. The reason being is I've met so many people over the last couple of years, and even people that don't really even invest in Windsor go, oh, I hear that Walkerville, for example, is a hot spot to invest right now. And everyone ever talks about is Walkerville. It's the number one thing I get. I think everyone wants to invest in Walkerville, and it's basically went from an area that was kind of dirty, an area that had its own issues, and has now transformed into a very hip, very trendy location. We're talking multiple streets with multiple nice restaurants, shopping areas. It's just a great place to be in general there. There's basically a bunch of different opportunities. So basically it's split into kind of, I would say, 3 or 4 different spots. One being the downtown area, which is basically east of Olette. So if you were just to type into Olette on Google, you would kind of go on that side. So anything east of that would be kind of the east side of the downtown core. This area basically has the tunnel access, and it has some streets that kind of go right up to about Walkerville, and then obviously Walkerville starts then. So the downtown portion there is quite small. You'll have streets like Lewis, Marion, kind of areas just outside of Walkerville. So some people kind of call it.
Can you tell us what type of home are you buying there?
Good question. So basically, for the most part of that downtown core there, you'll see a lot of basically commercial. You'll see a lot of multifamily residential, not just apartment buildings, but duplexes, triplexes, tons of multifamily of a multitude of different units there, right? Because you're right next to the casino, you're going to have a lot more, I would say, higher amounts of units. So 5+ units for the most part, a lot of duplexes there as well. Kind of more, I would say, multi-residential because it's more packed together, right? That area there. So basically I would say from about Olette to about, where would I kind of mark it off? I would basically say from Olette to about Parent is that east downtown area. It's got some stigmatization for being a little bit rougher, because basically around that Parent area, you have the street help. They tend to walk down the Wyandotte, which is basically a homeless soup kitchen kind of thing. And they kind of make their way to the Glengarry, Elmer. If you basically see, you'll see kind of a Y area there. And that spot's more of a little bit rougher area, but honestly, it's a great area to get in at a low price. You can get a nice 3-bedroom, 1-bath for probably under $250. It's a hot spot to invest, especially now for price points. So someone that doesn't have a lot of cash and wants to kind of get into the market, this is becoming one of the spots I think that you'll start seeing some changes as those people find that that's one of the only spots they can maybe invest in. Because I do get a lot of calls from younger investors wanting to invest in the area, and they'll still cash flow well, right? We're looking at the numbers here. We started the year off with a sale price at $275, and we ended around $338. So you'll notice that we've kind of went up almost $50,000 there, which is a very, very good amount of money. What I've done with mine is I've done residential, condo, and basically multifamily. I've mixed them all together. So some months you'll see it's lower, for example, February. Note that in April and May, we kind of had more of a slowdown with basically the COVID there and a lot of people not knowing what's going on. But as you can see, the market basically didn't get to hit April, 286 list price, 275 sale price. But overall, a lot of listings here. Walkerville is being one of the hottest areas. I don't think there's a bad spot you can invest in Walkerville, to be honest with you. Walkerville starts around the Parent area and goes to Walker Road, and that carries down to Tecumseh Road. So that's kind of your Walkerville area. My spots of preference for Walkerville is personally by the Riverside Drive. So any of the 200 to 300 blocks, as well as the blocks around Wilstead Park, which is around, I think, around the 800-ish to 900 block. And basically anything
You're talking about old
roads.
Walkerville now. You're talking about old
Walkerville. Old Walkerville, yeah.
Are you getting any kind of duplexes or triplexes in old Walkerville for, what is this, $340?
You might be able to get a rundown duplex for $338,000, but
you mean
a rundown duplex for $338 maybe, to give you an idea. So basically, it's not necessary. I guess it'd be more of area. Would be area 3 or area 7 there. But anyways, there was a nice duplex with an in-law suite on York, 1552 York, 1552, 1554 York. Not necessarily in this area here, but it was a beautiful duplex. This hit the market last week. It was listed for $390. I don't even know the sale price of it yet, but there were 17 offers on a beautifully done duplex. I'm expecting that thing to go probably somewhere to like early to mid 500,000 now. And that was just for a duplex with an illegal, or I would say, you know, an in-law suite in the basement, right? Wasn't proper height, but that was done up to the nines. And obviously Walkerville having this, the brand that it has now, I could say an area like Riverside Drive, just off of there, a 200 block, a duplex, would probably get you into a decent turnkey one. You got to start around that $400,000 mark. So you're around $200,000 per unit, I would say, comfortably for a duplex.
Okay.
So 400,000, and then obviously I've seen four units go as high as like 600,000 plus. Now I just sold a fourplex on Marintet, which is in this area. We sold that one for $775,000. I know that Aditya had a fourplex not too long ago. I think that was like 800 grand, right, Aditya?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the thing. The sky's the limit with these properties. The prices are going up. I wouldn't be surprised if in like a couple months we're talking about $250,000 per unit. But at the moment, you can probably get a one unit for around 100 to 130,000 per unit kind of door. Single family to get into Walkerville safely, you're around 300 grand. You can probably do it for 250 if you find the right BRRRR strategy property. But more or less, I think you're around $300,000 at this point for a single family. The numbers kind of show it being at 338 right now. And that was 54 last month listings and 60 sales. In the month of December, we had more sales than we had new listings.
Just because we don't, and there's no inventory, right? So
yeah. And like I said, hot area right now is definitely, if for someone with a lot of cash and wanting a turnkey location where they're going to have probably for tenants quality without going into like South Windsor, East Windsor, LaSalle area, you're going to get probably a good young couple, young professionals or family, someone along those lines. It's one of my favorite rental spots for the price. And I feel it's not even breaking the bank.
Guys, in the essence of time and respect for people's time,
let's go.
Move a little bit quicker. Okay, so let's go to the next neighborhood.
Let's do it. Next one. Yeah, East Windsor, great location. So East Windsor, I'll kind of knock this down really quickly. Right at the beginning, off of Paulette there to about Jefferson, we have some of the older style houses. You can kind of get in around there for maybe mid 300s, early 4s. And then on the Jefferson to Lozon, I just did actually a flip for one of my clients. We got the property at the beginning of the year. We just flipped it, sold it for $450. They bought it for $312, sold it for $450. Basically,
what type of home?
That was a late either 60s, early 70s, 3-level side split. But this area right there in between Jefferson and Lozon, you can find very similar houses to what you would see in South Windsor. You're going to get a lot of ranch or bungalow style houses. You're going to get a lot of tri-level side splits or back splits. So you're going to get houses in between that, either late 50s, early 60s, upwards of somewhere in the mid 70s.
So what I'm hearing, these are family type neighborhoods. You know,
these are where people that work in Windsor and they're middle class live. Yes.
Okay, and potential for investors is either you buy the single family
conversion,
or you can do a duplex conversion. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Single family will rent for about $2,300-ish a month if you want to do it that way. But I mean, if you're going to spend, 400 grand, I don't think the money's there. I think you would want to spend 400 grand, fix the basement up as something that you do, Savio. And I think that you could probably even push similar numbers to what you're getting in South Windsor. So you'll know those numbers better than I do, like 1,700 each unit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus utilities. A really hot area. I know that Aditya just recently invested in this area. Is the Little River Road. You'll see there's a little small community there. That's a really cheap area to invest in the East Windsor section. These are like zero lot line kind of small backyards, 1980s kind of electric baseboard. Some of them have the heat pumps in there, but they're ranches, they're back splits, they're 2-story houses. They sell for like, I've seen mid 200s all the way up to 300,000. But you're talking in an area where just on the other side of that road, where the main road is on McHugh, there's going to be houses starting on the other side. If you go right on the McHugh Road there, On the other side of Little River Road, I call that right there, it's more west. Houses will west.
Oh,
Down,
down.
down.
This little, okay. This
No,
little,
no, McGraw right there. Yeah, houses are going to be going around there. That's where the our OHL team plays. Houses will begin on that section there, starting at around $700,000. So you'll be basically
new
facing
development, right?
but you'll be facing $700,000 houses. You can buy in at $250, and you'll be at around $700,000. Well, you're not going to be around 700, but houses around you are going to be worth 700 grand.
So automatically
great,
you're going to get that appreciation.
You're buying the ugly duckling, right? I mean, it's electric baseboard heat. Yes, you can't convert these to gas. There's some of them on the outskirts will have the gas line connections, but the ones inside you won't have gas. So you're stuck with having basically a heat pumped area. And then on the other side of Riverdale is mostly all brand new homes. A brand new home in the Windsor area starts around 600, but for the most part, you're 700 grand. Then you got to add a basement. Then you got to do grass, your driveway, your fence. You're another $100,000 deep. So for the most part, that east section of Riverdale Road, you're going to be pushing probably for a new build, $600,000 to $800,000, maybe $1 million. There's areas just north of McHugh, Clover, Banwell area. You can get a nice raised ranch, which can be duplex converted for around $400,000 to $600,000, maybe $650,000. And you can do some really nice stuff. Those houses are less than 20 years old and have basement heights. Some of them actually even have great entrances. It's a great opportunity to invest if you have a good bank account and you want a safe A+ neighborhood and getting a duplex that you're going to have to make it your own.
This is monopoly money, right? So this is typical monopoly. You got to buy these houses one after the other, refi them out and use that money to buy the next one. Cash flow by adding a second suite, as you mentioned, Jeremy, so now you have something that's going to give you money every month. At the same time,
Absolutely.
you can find that out and take that out.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if someone's going to spend 700 grand in Toronto buy a condo, why don't you spend 700 grand and buy yourself even a brand new build, which, I mean, you can finish the basement, put it in a thing, and you'll have an A+ neighborhood that will still somewhat cash flow. And you're talking an A+ neighborhood.
Yeah.
So
I want to quote something from an article I read from our favorite investor, Warren Buffett, right?
yes.
He says, I'd buy a couple of 100,000 single family homes if I could. A couple of 100,000, right? This is coming from Warren Buffett. And the idea behind that is that it's just a money raker, right? So he's advising buyers to take out a 30-year mortgage, buy a home, refinance it when the rates drop. I don't know how much lower it can drop right now, but it's cheap. It's almost free money. It's almost free money. And then you just do it again and again and again, right? So if Warren Buffett is telling you to buy, if you don't want to, have the volatility of stock market, you want to be safe in your investment. You want to buy something that you're going to get returns on. Single family home, and this is the area to do it. It's one of the areas to do it in. Okay, cool. If nobody has any questions on that, let's move on to the next neighborhood, if you don't mind, Jeremy.
No problem at all.
Oh, okay. We finished yours, so we're going back to South.
I did yes now.
South Windsor.
So I know South Windsor, Savio won't let me talk because that's your bread and butter.
No, go ahead. Do your thing.
Okay. So, again, man, I'm going crazy about South Windsor nowadays. No inventory at all. One of the reasons, the calls that I got recently, I sold 2 single family homes just this 2 weeks, in last 2 weeks. Everyone want top rated schools, especially international families that are coming from Toronto. Where's the best schools? They look out on buskid.ca. The top rated 8 plus rating, that's it. And the main campus of St. Clair College is right there. It's right in the center of South Windsor. Devonshire Mall, one of the biggest mall, and Windsor Crossing, close to 401, whatnot. Literally, it's one of the prime location. So coming to what's in it for investor, honestly, like Savio does, that's the best thing. Literally, if you want to have a best quality tenant, and still make cash flow, that's a place where you buy these bungalows. Of course, no more under 400, very, very challenging to find under 400. But even if you do your numbers with like 420, 430 plus 100,000 for renovations to convert and do like a one unit into a secondary unit. So still you're under 500-ish, where you will make cash flow, where you have a good quality tenants and a best rating schools, which means you will always have quality tenants and always have tenants. So if you look at the appreciation side, this is one of the areas where very good appreciation. So look at the numbers, starting from the average sale price in January to 423,000. Again, typical bungalows, these are the prices of typical bungalows, but there are like a lot of new construction. Those prices are whole different level where, you know, 600, nothing less than 600,000, 5-10 years old, a nice raised ranch style newer buildings, but these are more like bungalows. So average 423 to jump to 497.
And that's in 12 months.
Just in 12 months, yeah.
Yeah, that's
so. There is the point.
You know, I'm going to add one more comment on this, Aditya. A lot of questions I asked. Okay, Savio, you're doing this refinancing and so on and so forth. You know, you're putting in the second suite. How much are these refinancing for? Okay, the duplex. Once you add the legal second suite, how much is it financing for? And I can tell you, you know, we're averaging right now with my students somewhere between 470 and 500. Okay, and that's for a single family that now has a secondary dwelling unit. And my honest opinion is that that's completely undervalued. Okay, the appraisers don't know what they're talking about because they've never seen that in Windsor before. They've never seen it in this neighborhood before. You know, so there's no duplex, there's no comps to compare this against, right? So I've seen the same thing happen in Windsor. I've seen the same, in Hamilton. I've seen the same thing happen in Barrie. Okay, when my peers were doing this sort of stuff, you know, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, when they just started doing legal second suites and the appraisals were coming in low. But as more and more people did that, suddenly you can't get, in Hamilton, for example, the same exact house with a secondary suite is not going for anything less than 650, almost 700. Okay, so those prices are just going to go up, And a lot of investors get this scared thought to say that, okay, if I can't refinance and take all my money out, what's the point of doing this, right? The point is that basically, again, it's time in the market. Okay, it's not a quick rich getting scheme. So yes, the numbers look high, but look at the appreciation. These appreciation numbers Aditya has given us is for single family homes. It doesn't include the secondary suite in here. That's just the bungalow that we're starting off with. Okay, so in 1 year, it's gone up by that much. You can only imagine what's happening next. I also want to add that I live in South Windsor. And one thing I've noticed is that, you know, you talk about top rated schools, Aditya, you know, without, you know, trying to be sounding prejudiced or racist or anything like that, there's a lot of international investors coming in. When I talk about international, we're talking about Chinese, South Korean, Indian, coming in and buying there only because they want their kids to be in the school. So these are foreign investors who can afford it. By the way, in case you didn't know, Windsor doesn't have a foreign investment tax like the rest of Ontario or Toronto, for example. Okay, so they can come in and buy a house and not pay that 15% tax like Torontonians have to do. Okay, or international people coming and investing in Toronto. So you got a lot of Chinese, South Korean, Indians who are buying homes without being Canadian citizens, taking advantage of that no foreign income tax to put their kids in those schools, and that's all they're there for. So that's driving the prices higher as well. So when I'm walking my kids on the street in the summer, in the spring, or even in winter, I can see a lot of foreign people coming up there. Okay, so it's, you know, there's a movement. Stuff is happening in that area, and it was always better to buy yesterday, but it's not better to buy tomorrow. So if you can get something in South Windsor, now's the time. We know that the inventory is non-existent, really. You know, you know, jump on that. Cool.
Yep. And another 2 points to touch on South Windsor. One, you know, if you're a little bit more keen on to this tiny homes, that's another opportunity where a lot of the lots are 60, 50 by 100, 120, 130. And the second thing is, don't worry about the appraisal value right now, because right now for duplex conversion, the secondary unit, there is no property to compare with in the market right now. Like there is no legal units that such a thing, because the legal thing came into picture just like a year and a half ago, or 2 years max.
On that note, it just popped in my head. I have an off-market deal, guys. Right now, I have an off-market deal in South Windsor, a couple of streets down from my house, one of the best streets in South Windsor. That's a single family home with a secondary dwelling unit in it already. So it's converted and it's legalized and it's tenanted. So if somebody wants a turnkey property, send me a DM and I can share that information with you. So, and
Is there realtor fees?
no, it's all market. Realtors, bring your people, add your fees.
That's what I did.
Add your fees. Okay. Bring your people and add your fees. You know, this is an off-market deal, so it's a true off-market deal. Okay, I can send you the package if anybody's interested. Realtors welcome. Okay, on that note, also, I think we've addressed all the neighborhoods. At least I think we did. If we have missed any neighborhoods, guys, if you're following live, you know, let us know which neighborhood you invest in or which neighborhood you want to invest in, and you need more details. We'll get back to you with that for our next episode on the same topic. But we're going to add something to this series, right? Something that we never did before, because it's good to actually show you the numbers and the best neighborhoods to invest in. But let's talk about what's available in the market. So I've asked Jeremy and I've asked Aditya to share, you know, online MLS listing, and let's go through the numbers and why as an investor we should buy that house. They've cherry picked whatever's on the MLS right now. So if they're coming up with that suggestion, I think it's something that you need to follow. Okay. So Aditya, if you want to go first.
Yep. So I'm going to share my screen, Xavier. You're going to allow me.
Sure. Let me
so
stop my
confirm, approve me.
Go for it.
Okay. Share the screen. There you go. Okay. So the neighborhood that I just talked about it's in a downtown area. So can you guys see my screen?
Can you make it a little bit bigger, Aditya? The font is really tiny, so I don't think.
Really tiny. Okay.
Zoom in or something.
How about now?
Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, perfect.
Oh, okay. So this is one property that I was like looking for a perfect one where you can either do burst strategy or you can look for future potential and current cash flow situation.
Where is this? Can you show us on the map first so people know?
Yeah. So I'm going to just start with the address first. So if you look at the search the address, it's currently on the market. So right here. So downtown, pretty much the downtown area.
Just zoom out a little more. Zoom out a little more if you don't mind.
Zoom out a little bit more. Here. Yeah. The red mark here. So right in that center. So the good thing about this location, right here is the hospital.
So you're going to find renters. You're going to find a nurse.
Yeah. So nurses are working, of course, casino and St. Clair College, the downtown campus right here. So you can either do a student rental, you can do a family rental. Let's look at the numbers here. So the property is listed for $249,900, of course, with the offer presentation date. It's a 3+1 and 2 bath. So single family, I like to see that 3+1 because, you know, now you can either go for like a single professionals or family rental. If you do either case, you will get at least like 1,800 rent. So as of now, let's say even this property in the bidding, if it goes for 400, 420, still you will make like $300 cash flow.
Is that your expectation? Is that your expectation that that property is going to go for about 420?
No, not 420. I mean like probably it might hit 300, 310.
Okay, thank you.
For multiple reasons.
I was about to tell you, take me to the Windsor Hospital right now because 250, 420.
No, not four. Impossible. Okay. But look at the lot size, 45 by 150. This is one very good thing because either if you want to do a duplex conversion, I don't know, I haven't seen the basement height, but I'm just assuming even like if you want to do the tiny home in the back in future, not right now. But right now you can improve the property condition. For some reason, it's not loading up the pictures. The property is like nice and clean, just dated. For some reason, it doesn't load up. Just give me a second.
Your mind is too fast. Your computer is too slow.
Let me just refresh.
Or you can Google it maybe.
Okay, here.
There you go.
So nice brick, just like those bungalows in South Windsor.
Yeah, it looks clean, eh? For
Yeah,
downtown
and
property.
inside it's pretty clean.
Whoa.
Good
Modern
size.
too.
Yeah, but it's still dated though. If you look at the kitchen, it's still like old style, old, but nice and clean. For now, you can rent out.
Yeah, you can rent this directly. I mean, for a renter.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so right now, even let's say like max, if you get it for like 320, 330, still you'll be making $200 just for now. And then in future, either you can do like a, probably a nice, more modern touch where you can increase the property value because there is still dated flooring. There is still...
Pause there, Aditya. So you're talking about burst strategy, right? So
yeah,
you have two options in this case. I mean, you're buying this, you can rip the carpets out, you can do a bit of renovations, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about rents right now. Let's say we rent it as is, don't do anything. What do you expect the rents to be in this neighborhood?
At least 1,800 for that size because look at those bedrooms.
Perfect. And then if we actually do the burst strategy and we do some updates, we spend some rental money, what do you think that rent is going to increase?
It can go up to, because this is the location where you can do some nice furnished rentals. Luxury rentals, probably you can get over 2,400, 2,500.
But you're talking about short-term rentals?
Again, it could be short-term. It could be like, furnished rentals for professionals.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. So you can jump the rent from basically 1,800 up to, let's say 2,500.
Yeah. And pause it here. Look at the basement height.
Oh yeah.
And look at the space, like huge.
Clean basement, looks good.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like there's any water damage. Yeah. Perfect burst strategy, guys. Perfect burst strategy. So I love it. It's got a big backyard. You can do.
Look at the size of the backyard. Like, where can you get this?
It's a soccer field.
Sorry?
It's a soccer field.
Yeah.
There's some roofing needs to be done in the garage, but who cares about the garage?
Yeah, who cares about the garage? So if you look at the square footage, look at these bedrooms, 11 by 16, 13 by 10, 9.5 by 12. So none of the bedroom is like smaller.
Yep. No, I love it. Okay, cool. So for those of you who are watching online, I hope that gives you some information or some idea of what to expect in the Windsor market, the neighborhoods, and then potential properties like this. If you like that, send Aditya a message so he can put an offer for you, or he can give you more information on that. Aditya, if you can put your
and you're gonna call me like literally today or tomorrow. I know it's too late because the offer presentation is tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Okay, you got time. Pull the trigger, guys.
You gotta like, time is ticking, 20 hours, not even 20 hours, 9 hours, 19 hours.
Let me give you the summary, okay? You're going to get a single family home that's pretty good condition, rentable immediately for, let's say in the worst case scenario, $320,000. Find me the same house anywhere else in Ontario and I'll buy that house from you right now. You're not gonna find that, right? So with a little bit of planning, with a little bit of strategy, you can turn this money into gold, okay? Just to give you a comparison about pulling the trigger, Jeremy thought he overpaid for his condo and he made $250,000 in it. Okay. And this is what it's all about. If you're getting into investing, you got to pull the trigger. There's only so much you can look at, guys. You got to pull the trigger. Okay, cool. Thanks, Aditya, for that. Jeremy, let's jump to you. You got something you want to show us?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I'm going to try sharing my screen now. Can I do that? I can't. He's already sharing right now.
Yeah,
so I can't.
I'm stopping my sharing. There you go.
I think he walked away.
Aditya, in the meantime, can you please put your contact information in
we're
the chat
good.
so
Hold on.
somebody wants to.
I lagged. Can I go to a website URL? Okay. All right. How would I get you? Let's just do this up. Can you go on realtor.ca? Because I can't do this off my iPad. I have the iPad's good for a lot of things, and maybe not this.
Okay, what's the address?
So we're going to type in 549 Chover.
Chover. Okay. Do you care which one I open? Oh, you want realtor.ca. Okay.
Realtor.ca.
549 Silver. $399.9.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me.
All right, I'm gonna bring my tablet up here. Perfect. All right, so this one just listed, I believe, today. Couple things I already saw. You always want to make sure that you're doing you read the description, because it says that one of the units is rented for 1,100 in 12 years kind of thing, which is kind of crazy. But this right here is a great neighborhood in Old Walkerville. Your steps to some of the best restaurants in the Windsor area. You can be at basically Vito's restaurant. You got Kildare House not too far away. You got a bunch of amazing coffee shops, cafes, shopping areas. This is kind of more of that hoity-toity-ish Old Walkerville spot right here. And your steps from everything. If we open the pictures up, this is a 3+2 bedroom duplex. And it's already done up. It's listed at $399, so $400,000. Obviously, it's not going to sell for $400,000. I think it's going to sell for a little bit more. I don't have the listing on this, but I'm sure that a few of my clients are going to be wanting to reach out and view this. So if you're interested, this would be an amazing. I think personally probably an amazing duplex. It's in a great neighborhood. You're going to get top of the line tenants for the most part, and it's got some of that old world charm, which I really like.
No, like it's clean. It's updated. It's completely updated.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Talk about rents.
So right now, one of the units is on a 1,112-year lease, which I assume is probably, I don't know what that means. Nothing makes any sense about what it means on that. So that's rented out for $1,350, which is the main floor 2-bedroom with forced central air and separate laundry, leased to long-term tenants at $1,350 a month plus utilities. And then the upstairs is a 3-bedroom that has been fully renovated and features 2 second floor deck, brand new ductless heat and central air. So it's got the ductless probably the system there, which is great. I just try to get one of those installed. I just try to get one installed in my condo, and they wanted like $10,000 for it. Central air, granite countertops, brand new kitchen and bathroom, and that's vacant right now. And a 3-bedroom in the midst of one of the best streets in Old Walkerville, you're probably looking at, on the low end, probably $1,400-$1,500 a month on the lowest end.
Yeah, for sure.
To maybe $1,600 to $1,700. I mean, for a 3-bedroom, yeah.
I have a duplex on Silver right there, and my 2-bedroom gets $1,600.
There you go. And how long ago did you rent that out for?
Say again?
How long ago did you rent that one out?
It's almost a year now.
There you go. So rents have gone up a little bit. So, I mean, $1,600 a month, right? Same kind of street area. So it's an amazing location. It's turnkey. I think a lot of especially right now with COVID and the fact that you can't really get renovations going. This is a turnkey property that you're already making $1,350 a month plus utilities. You have the opportunity to rent out a 3-bedroom unit for much more than that. You're cash flowing right off the bat.
Any guesses?
We'll scratch up. Good question. I mean, looking at this at $399, I think $399 is a really great deal. So we're looking at probably, I would say, it's tough. I would say probably about mid-4s at least.
What do you think, Aditya?
I really like that location. It's one of the unique location. So, I mean, for someone who don't want to do anything, right? Like they want to have a good quality tenants. I want to have at least a $200-$300 cash flow in a very good neighborhood. Then this is the property.
Heck, I would live there. This is a really good neighborhood. I would live in that 3-bedroom and rent the main floor out to pay my mortgage. That's how good of a neighborhood it is.
And pretty much you can pay your mortgage with other unit rent. Even if you get it for probably, I'm pretty sure this property will have a solid bidding war.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's high 400s, guys.
Yeah, high 400. That's what I'm thinking based on the comparables in that area.
Yeah. But
so there was a single family that sold about 5 or 6 doors down, for 550, done up to the nines, a little bit more crazier, but this is a very, very good street. Like I said, just to kind of get your foot in the door, like I said, your mid fours, just to even like look at it and think about it. But once again, with it being Walkerville, you could be easily pushing that 500 mark, especially with that one on York there, which was obviously a brick. It had another basement unit in there. But I mean, this is a premier location. This is not a normal Walkerville location. This is more of a premium. You're paying to have that shoulder because you're on a better spot.
Yeah, it's a keeper, right? This is something that you put in your portfolio.
Long term.
You park it there, and, and that's it. If you cash flow $200-300 a month after, you know, it's just bonus, right?
It's premium. This is premium as it gets. I was interested with this.
If you want to make more cash flow, actually, it's also a good one for making more cash flow in future, not right now in this pandemic, but Airbnb. It used to be one of the best neighborhood for Airbnb, and properties like this, beautiful.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
This is a Swiss Army knife of a location for somebody.
Yeah, we didn't see the basement over here, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's potential to, you know, lower the floor there, and, you know, maybe add another suite as well. So, you know,
it's well worth it to even dig down. To spend the money that's needed for the most part. If you, for example, the one on York, they were offered $1,400 for a 2-bedroom in the basement. If you can do a 2-bedroom in the basement there, and it costs whatever it costs to dig down and have that done properly, you will make more than 1% rule on that.
Yep. Call me for your construction needs, guys. My shameless plug. So if you need something like that done, let me know. Okay, cool, guys. Awesome. I love those on market listings, because I think it's important for people who are watching the show to see that there are, you know, we're just not talking these crazy numbers. You know, there are opportunities out there. You got to know how to dig the market. You know, you need to have the right teams around you. That's the point of having this show, right? To give you guys the power team that you need in Windsor if you are trying to get into the Windsor market, or if you are already investing in Windsor and want to grow your portfolio. Thank you, Aditya. Thank you, Jeremy, again, for your knowledge, for your expertise. We run over time, but listen, we got great shows. We got great shows coming up. You know, I want to preempt my objectives for 2021 was to do this every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, I want to bring, you know, investors out here and pick their brains so we can learn from them and then, you know, increase our portfolio and do things right. So on that note, I want to introduce my next guest for in a couple of weeks. What is that? I don't even know the date, but whatever. You're going to see the marketing material out for that. You know, Austin Ye. Austin is this young kid out of Toronto investing in Windsor. You know, the guy is jobless right now. He just left his full-time job, guys, because of real estate investing. And he's, I think, 24 or 25. I can't remember. You know, I'll get all that information out to you. But if you're in that age group and you're thinking to yourself, you know, can I do it? And I have this fear. And is it possible? Or is it just something that we see on TV, on YouTube, and doesn't happen in real life? Join in for the next show. We're going to bring on Austin over here. He's going to tell us his story. He's going to tell us how he did it, why he did it, and what's his future plans. Okay. On that note, thanks everybody for joining. Join again. Keep a lookout for the communication on what our next shows are. Have a good night. Stay apart and stay safe.